I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. I'm running wire. Not going to show you all the bits and details of it, just the major stuff. In order to get the wires up through that pulling L, I had to pull each wire up individually. All I had to do was just cut the tape that was holding the ends together and pull up each one individually and pull them up into the box. Came up real easy. Now this being a sub panel, I have to have a separate ground strip isolated from the neutral bars. So I have my ground strip down there in the bottom. I was able to buy that at Menards. It's just a small thing that goes in about $6 and get you another ground strip and you're good to go. So now I'm going to strip out these wires, get them ready to put it into the lugs and hook them up to that breaker, and then this thing will be ready for power. I still have to hook it up in the garage, but that can happen, just not tonight. I wanted to get this end done, so I had these wires tucked in out of the way and everything ready to go. I'll bring you back when I got that done. We try and measure just as close as we can because that's about 35 cents worth of wire. And I could just tuck it up inside the box, but it's a bit excessive. So now I'm just going to strip this wire off. I had an electrician back in 1970 explained to me that I couldn't strip wire with a pair of side cutters because I would break one of the conductors. Well, I proceeded to clip through the insulation and then pull off the insulation with a pair of side cutters just to prove I could do it. But really, in the grand scheme of things, you're supposed to use a knife. At least according to Duncan Palmier, who's long since gone, taught me a lot. And I appreciated his guidance. This direct burial wire is a bear to get the insulation off of. Because it's got good insulation. It has to be buried. You don't want to have it sloughed off first time a rock runs up against it. But it ain't easy cutting it off. I'm sure there's some fancy tool that does this so much better than my jackknife. But the jackknife works and it matches code and everything's going to be okay. Okay, seeing as how this is aluminum wire, wasn't my first choice. I wanted to go with copper. But copper has got some serious problems. Ox guard. We used to use something called Annex. All same thing. Electrically conductive grease that seals off the oxygen from the aluminum surface, and it causes it to conduct electricity better. Helps prevent heating. Now, the only thing I'm kind of wondering about with aluminum wire is it has a tendency to come loose. At United Technologies, we extruded aluminum. That was the big thing. It was a company that extruded aluminum and anodized it. So part of the anodizing process, you have big aluminum bus bars. Why do you have aluminum bus bars? Well, because you're in a plant that makes aluminum bus bars. That's the whole point and purpose behind it. So we had to go down and change bus bars or remanage connections or do all kinds of things. And one of the things that we found was we had to go down about once a year and tighten the bolts. If we didn't, then there was going to be a problem. I want to work this down into the wire with a wire brush so I get it coated really well. In and amongst the strands. Then add a little bit more just to make sure, because this stuff is inexpensive. I mean, it doesn't cost diddly. And it means that your connections don't overheat. So, time and money well spent. One thing, you try not to get it on your fingers, because it is kind of like graphite in that it sticks really, really well. Let's see. Nope. There we go. You never know what's metric and what's imperial. Because they don't mark screws. But this one just happens to be a 3/16. Okay, I have the neutral wire in place, tightened into the ground, into the neutral lug. If this was a main panel, I'd be running a ground screw, a little green screw, which comes with the box, through this lug into the case itself, the panel shell. But because this is a sub panel, it has to have a separate, completely isolated ground, which is over here in this corner. Little strip here, and that will be grounded to a ground rod, which I'm going to drive outside the building. Then I have a piece of number 4 copper that I'm going to ground that down through to the ground rod, and we'll have an isolated ground. So, not the way I'm used to doing it, but that's the way we're going to do her. Tomorrow morning I have a new door coming in that will cover that big opening in the wall, the 8x16 hole. So I got to move all this stuff back, get it out of the way so if it rains tonight, nothing comes in and gets on it, and we're all done for the evening. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union without the express written permission of the parents or the legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.